Hey crypto YouTubers, this is coinpicker.us with a quick update on where we are at in the markets and how my projections are working out and where we're going to be going here in the future. Somewhere on this page is really, really big news. I'm not going to tell you where it is now, but you'll find out later in the video. And then we'll go through the BTC chart and see what's ahead. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, we've been just treading water. Yes, we went up. Yes, we went down, but we're back where we were. And there is some interesting news in the crypto space that we'll cover as well, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Let me focus in right away on the question I posed about, or I should say, teaser I posed about the big surprise that's going on here. And it's something I have talked about for quite a while. Look at what wheat has done today. It's up over 5%, and it's early in the day. It could be significantly higher. Now, let's take a look at wheat on a chart basis. And we shall see, well, it's just absolutely rocketed. Let's do it on a 1 month basis and see where we are. So we're starting at a relative low point. If we look at it in a yearly basis, it's actually climbed up significantly already in a yearly basis. And on a 5-year basis, it's still got a long way to go. So why is this interesting? Why is this important? Because if you remember, any of you who've been following me for a while, I said a while ago, what happens is you get crude oil moving first. It's one of the first things that flies in commodity bull market because it's the most fungible traded asset and the most critical, on a daily basis, basically. Then you start to see the softs move, and we're seeing some of the softs move. And later on, you'll eventually get to the metals. So there's this wave that goes through the commodity market. Most people don't know about it, but now you do. And I had predicted this a while ago. I said food prices are going to be rocketing. And this is not a short-term thing. Normally it is. Normally it is. Normally food prices from the commodity side will, in a year and a half, 2 years, maybe stabilize. We're not going to see that. We're going to see a continued rise in food prices over time. We'll have waves up and down, but we're not going to see the crashes where all of a sudden there's this huge wave of wheat, especially wheat and corn, especially. Some of the other crops will be able to be rebirthed, so to speak, or provided to the market, but wheat and corn are two particular ones that are going to be struggling for a long, long time and have a dramatic rise. And it's something I've talked about, but when you see a 5% pop in a day, that's pretty darn significant. And a 2% drop in copper, nearly 3%, that's also fairly significant. But copper is largely an economic indicator. They call it Dr. Copper. So let's take a look and see what that chart is telling us in terms of economics. I don't think there's any surprise there. If we look at on a 5-year basis, we had a relatively, see, actually this isn't that high. I was trading copper when it was up in the 4s and I was shorting it a little bit, but this isn't really all that high, but it is showing a slowing trend around the world in construction. That's primarily where copper is used. Each house uses, I don't know, 50 pounds of copper or more than that. But it is showing a bit of that. But I think ultimately we will see copper prices rise at some point again as part of the commodity bull market. But it is one of those that, with economic activity, can generally go up, but also contains the inflation wave as well. So copper's a little bit trickier to trade, I think. But I've traded it quite a bit and I really enjoy it. So let's get to BTC and see where we're at on that. On a monthly basis, as I had mentioned a while ago, you can trundle around in a lower part of stochastic RSI for quite a while, which is what we're doing. We're still not down in a reversal territory for CCI, but keep in mind, Bitcoin doesn't necessarily need to be. You can be at a lower point and still reverse up. Now, the EFI is indicating that we're almost at the balance of buyers and sellers with a slight slight nod towards the buyers, which is positive. But let's look on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, it looks like we've gathered some steam for a nice reversal. Will it break up beyond, let's say, 74, 75? That's what we need to see. We need to see um, Bitcoin to pierce this area. I don't see it happening right now. However, I do see it happening August timeframe, end of July, August, September, somewhere. I mean, in that later timeframe. Not right now. Not right now. We had a little bit of a pop off the bottom. Not enough for me to consider it a great trade at all. On a daily basis, we are we're way overextended stochastic RSI. Not that overextended in we're not really overextended in CCI, so I don't, we could just trend up here for a while and let the averages catch up and that kind of thing. But we're not blowing off the bottom by any stretch. Now, something that I consider really interesting is this. Let's take a look at the relative performance of EOS. Now, EOS is on a daily basis trending positively relative to BTC on a daily basis. We're nowhere near overbought territory. The sellers have just ceded control, so we're sort of an equal basis. But if we go to a weekly basis, I think, yeah, it's not. We're not showing unique strength with EOS at all yet. And part of the reason for that is you can't deposit and withdraw EOS on Binance, one of the largest exchanges. That's a huge issue. So all we're really seeing for the most part is the activity of the existing holders of EOS. So it's kind of these numbers almost don't even really even apply. What will happen when it breaks out? That's, when Binance allows it to trade. And I don't know whether that's happened. I don't think it has. I've been checking on my own account. I don't see it happening. And I'm not on Binance with my EOS. I'm on a staked wallet. But that's the situation with EOS. So we really don't know what EOS is doing. But let's talk about two bits of news that I think are important. One, and this is a really big one, Malta is now, they firmly created a blockchain framework or cryptocurrency framework. I read through the article. I didn't find sufficient detail to really understand exactly what they have, but bottom line on it is Malta is now one of the premier places to set up shop. So on the ICOs I'm involved in, that's where I'm steering people. EOS RAM prices. Now that's big news. I don't think this is a good speculation, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it would have been a great speculation early on. I did not participate in it. I wasn't as involved with that as I probably should have been, but I didn't participate. It would have been a fantastic speculation, but kind of a tricky one to get in and out and get your return to a certain extent. And I think one of the dangers of this is that the high price of EOS RAM is becoming an impediment on the network. And I mean, the price of RAM is like, let's see, short of $8,200 for 1 MB of RAM, which is ridiculous, ridiculous in this day and age. So it's obviously a speculative fervor. I think they may take a coding approach to resolving it because it's not it's bad for the network. It's going to make it difficult for developers to use EOS, and if it really maintains this kind of a pace, then EOS is going to be just an interesting academic exercise where, if just to set up a system where you need 2 or 3 gig of RAM, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars, or something like that. Whatever the total amount is. It's not going to be workable. It is not going to be workable. So I think there's probably going to be some shift where you're going to see a crash in RAM prices. In fact, if there were a way to short it, I would do it. But where we're at in the scheme of things, in the big scheme of things, is that the cryptocurrency market cap has been largely, I mean, it bounced off of a 58, 59 low, went all the way up to 67 and back down. I need to see it pop up over 74, 75 before I say we're really back on a roll. But on a daily and weekly, a daily basis, it's a little overbought. On a weekly basis, it looks like it's got some room to run, as my charts have indicated. EOS, we really don't even know where that's going to go yet, and the rest of them I'm not paying that much attention to right now because I can just tell you it's not a market where its profits are easy to pick up, right? So in terms of the broader market, what we're seeing is, if we go to major indices, what we're seeing is that the Nasdaq is still below its recent high. S&P 500 is holding its own. Dow is still taking a dump. I think Dow is significantly below its recent high. Let's see where it is year to date. Actually, um, let's see here. Well, they don't give me the year-to-date option on this, but let's just go 6 months. That should give us an idea. Yeah, I mean, we were up around here, 26.6, and now we're down at 24. So it's taken a serious beating. Now, if you look at the Nasdaq, I believe, actually Nasdaq surpassed the 75.60, so it's also down significantly from its recent high. But the Nasdaq is generally 6 months. Yeah, Nasdaq is generally healthier, but I say it's more susceptible to a downturn at this point. And the small caps, oddly enough, have done reasonably well. Let's check on the small caps. And that's perhaps indicative of the small caps have really done better than the big caps. I mean, yes, it's had a drop, but it hasn't had the drop at the level of the Dow. Probably, yeah, not even of the Nasdaq. That's positive for the economy. That is generally positive for the economy when the smaller caps are rising. That's a broader approach. It's much healthier. So the headline might be horrible news, and that the Dow and the Nasdaq have dropped, but with the broader market index rising, it's not rising. It's dropped a little bit, but in general for the trend for the year, it's still up. That's extremely positive. I think that is, as I said, indicative of the tax policy. So where we're at in terms of the future with BTC, I think we have a little bit of time to wait. We didn't get a blow through up to the upside. Binance has had some issues. EOS has to come back online, and we've got probably another 2 months-ish, somewhere in that area, for accumulation before we do see, I think, an expected move to the upside. Could something rocket? Sure, there's always news to the downside if the SEC comes after or Japanese exchange, all those kinds of things. But a lot of that regulatory stuff is being settled somewhat. The fact that Malta is now a fantastic place to locate, you could see just a wave of exchanges and trading houses and ICOs all head to Malta. They may divide it up. They might have a location in Malta with a headquarters office in Estonia and some other place because it makes sense to legally divide up the structure of a business like that. But Malta is giving the Bitcoin and blockchain and ICO space a bit of breathing room, and that's really positive. As I also said, the EOS RAM, I think that's got to pop here soon because it may be done in a software way or something else, but it's just unsustainable for the network. And Block One, the company that basically runs EOS, is going to nip that in the bud. So that is coinpicker.us. And for those of you who are subscribed, I am about to send out a update with some details about what I expect to happen in the future and some details about investments that are associated with crypto but also outside of crypto. So thanks everyone. Click the like, subscribe button, and I will talk to you.